right, the issue is that I want a freestanding spiral staircase that I can use on this big tower tile. I don't want it to be huge, taking up a lot of space. I want it to be playable. I want minis to be able to stand on each step, and I don't want it to be like flimsy, easy to knock around or knock over. I also need it to be kind of easy to make. So my solution, I hope, is this little piece of plywood that I cut. I designed this just in Photoshop, just made a shape and then cut it out with my laser cutter. And I'm hoping that this will allow me to make a bunch of foam pieces exactly the same that I can then assemble into this spiral staircase. This hasn't really been tested out beyond just in my head. I think this will work, but I don't actually know. First things first, we gotta cut some foam up. I still haven't come up with a good, more permanent rig for this vent here, but this does work pretty well. I have to cut some blocks that are wider than this. So what I want is a bunch of layers that are cut out to this shape. Now, I would love to just cut this shape out of this block and then slice the layers. But if I just place this on it, I'm not sure, the wire might bend on the top spot and it might not keep the shape consistent. Usually when you have a jig like this, you want a piece on the top and a piece on the bottom, kind of locking it in so that the wire can ride both edges. But because of the shape of this, there's no way to easily make that. I'm sure it's possible. I'm gonna try just cutting it like this. If it's good, awesome. If it's not, then I'll just cut a bunch of layers first and then cut these individually. But I'm gonna try to see if the more time effective way works first. When you're riding a template like this, you want to put it face down so it's as close to this as possible. You don't want it on top up here. Now I'm going to try to go slow because I really don't want to distort the wire. Okay, let's see how well that worked. That was a little bit awkward, to be honest. But seems like I lost a little bit of material up here, but not a ton. Let's slice this. I'm gonna try slicing the layers first and then cutting the shapes on each of them. It'll obviously take longer, but I wanna see if it works a lot better. Since this is now thinner, I should be able to get away with putting the template on top because there's less height here for the wire to bend. And when it is on top, it's a little bit easier to see what you're doing. Oh, see, look at that. Actually, I was wrong. Can you see how tapered this is? So this shows why you don't put the guide on the upper side. You want it on this side because it won't bend like that. So that one's no good. We want to go down. Okay, that looks better. That looks a lot better. There's this notch in the guide here that stops the wire and makes it kind of annoying, but it is there for a reason so that when I build these, I know where to line up the next one. On these ones where I cut everything in one big chunk, there's a lot more fluctuation, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is the way to do it. One at a time with the guide side down. Hey Masha, you wanna say hi to everybody? You wanna say hi? Oh baby. Sorry for the interruption. This video does not have a normal sponsor. To be brutally honest, this past year has been the most difficult year in this channel's decade-long history. It seems like every day one of the revenue streams that I spent years building just collapses. And the most recent one of those is the loss of the long-term sponsor partner, Squarespace. They've canceled all their YouTube contracts. That was the last really reliable month-to-month revenue stream this channel had. So things just got dicey, but I'm not gonna give up. I've put so much work into a variety of things, I think I should just tell you about them. First of all, Blackmagic Creative is the independent publishing company that I've started. I've been putting so much effort into this. There's Idols of Torment, an original dark miniatures game. There's a brand new, fresh off the press rulebook, a game pieces set, and 8 different factions of physical models that you can play. There you can also get Voidbirth, my original RPG adventure, as well as character sheet pads for it and a whole range of physical miniatures. And if you do 3D printing, you can go on myminifactory.com and grab all of my miniatures in STL format and print them yourself. Another great way you can support this channel and get something cool in the process is checking out my merch store. I have several really cool t-shirts that I am really proud of, that I really like the designs of. They're fulfilled by a really great partner, the quality is excellent, and the shipping is very cheap. And last, if you just want to help, something I don't bring up nearly enough on this channel is the Patreon. If you just want to throw a couple bucks to the channel each month, that is an awesome way to do it because it's something that I can rely on to keep this channel going month to month. So despite all the setbacks, I'm still here and I plan to be here as long as I possibly can. All right, let's get back to building. Before I assemble, I want to put in some of these fishing weights. Usually after I build something, I cut a hole and put it in the bottom. But since I'm building this in layers, I can definitely just put them in right now. I'll have to carve some of this out without going all the way through. This I can cut right through. I got enough space here to add a couple more without having to carve anything else out. So I'm gonna take advantage of that. Nice and heavy. So a little bit of a problem, not really, but well, okay. I painted this out, right? Painted it. And I planned on doing the grout work. So I sprayed it with some clear coat, some aerosol clear coat. I was a bit heavy handed. And because I only primed this with like airbrush primer, and yeah, we melted a bit. It actually looks pretty cool though, because it only melted a little bit, and kind of gave some more separation in the like tile lines. And it gave a pretty cool pitted look here. So I'm not upset, and it doesn't matter because I'm going to put the grout on this anyway. I am concerned that the hand carved lines versus the individual like tiles don't have a wide enough space to hold the grout, and I don't know how well this will work, but it's something I really want to do. So that's what I'm going to do. Every time I do this, there's a handful of people that just truly can't understand why I'm doing it and why I paint, put on this grout, and then paint again. And I guess I got to make a couple things clear. First, I'm not putting on this grout to just fill in these gaps, like for the sake of filling them. They look fine, unfilled. It doesn't matter. The whole reason I'm doing this is so that I can get grout lines that look lighter in color than the stones. And if I applied this before painting, all the grout work would end up getting painted out in the same uniform color and like lightness as everything else. And in the end, it would just look the same as if it was just carved out of foam. So in this method, you get some color on the stone, particularly get some darkness on the stone. And then you come in with this really light grout. And that makes a really, really strong contrast, which you can then tint with like translucent paints or inks. And while that will darken and color the grout, it's all relative. So the stonework will always stay darker. And you get a nice two-tone effect that is really difficult to get any other way just by painting. If you want dark grout lines, that's really easy because you can just use washes and they will recess and pool in those things. But if you want light colored grout lines, that's a lot more difficult. Nobody wants to go in and paint those lines by hand, nor would it look very realistic. So this is a method that achieves that. And it's cool because you're actually using grout, which is real stone. Well, not stone, but it's like a type of cement, I guess. And yeah, it adds a nice bit of realism. Does that make sense? This one is going to be a bit more difficult to clean off the excess just because of the awkward shapes. Another thing I'll point out while I'm doing this again is that this is grout. This is not drywall joint compound. You could use that though. You definitely could. But this actually hardens much, much more. This is incredibly strong stuff. Whereas drywall joint compound is very, very weak and very water soluble forever. But you see this? You see how dark stone, light grout? That's what we're trying to do here. And yes, I will tint it again some more just to take down just how bright this is. But the grout will be lighter than the stone. So I think I achieved all my goals with this. It looks good, it was easy to make, and it's nice and stable and heavy. It's not gonna get knocked over. It turned out darker than the tile, but that's more of a problem with the tile because it'll actually perfectly match the modular ruined walls that I already have that I plan on using with it. This is really the look I was going for with the tile, but just didn't quite turn out that way. That's fine though. There's no reason it can't look a little bit different. Both look good in my opinion. And yeah, I'm really excited to use this thing. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, if you want to help out me or the channel, check out blackmagiccreative.ca.